switch me on.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Proton Pack. It's not a toy. My name is Matt. Last week I put this foam padding on the Alice frame that I'm going to use for my Ghostbusters Afterlife Proton Pack. It'll be the HasLab Proton Pack that's supposed to come out next year. And I'm just now getting around to making the video to show you the end result. Planned on doing a video showing you the process of going through what I did, but there was a lot of consulting of pictures and cutting multiple times, and it wouldn't have made for a great video, so I decided to just show you the end result, give you the measurements that I used, and then show you the products that I used to end up with what I have here. The first big difference, the main difference between the padding on the Afterlife packs and the ones from the first two movies is this extra layer that you see that goes around. This is a neoprene foam. I got a tip from Austin Young from the Black Firehouse podcast when we were talking about the straps that he had sold me, and I asked him, what are you using for this extra layer? And he gave me a link from eBay. There's a seller in China that actually sells this kind of foam in different thicknesses. You can get it in 2mm, 4mm, and 6mm. So I bought the 6, and you can either buy it in an A4 measurement size, which turns out to be about 12 inches by 8.5 inches, or you can get a big roll of it, which costs a little bit more. I think I paid $8.50 plus shipping for this right here, and turned out to be more than enough for one roll. So if you're just doing one, get the A4 size, and I'll show you the seller. I'll put the link in the description of this video if you want to check it out for yourself. So that's the big difference on this, is having that extra neoprene layer on there. Again, the 6mm is what you want to get, and show you one of the scraps that I used so you can kind of see the thicknesses. When you do get the A4 size, it comes folded over in the mailer that they send it in, but it's very resilient. It'll give and bounce back to where it was when I was attaching the whole foam to the frame. I actually used some zip ties, and I tightened them a little bit too much, and you can kind of see a little bit where it's kind of indented. If you look really closely, you might not be able to pick it up in the video, but they were very indented when I first took off the zip ties that were kind of holding them in place to clamp them down, and they have almost completely bounced back, and it's been less than a week. So don't worry about it being folded over if you do receive it in that way, because it will bounce back. The next thing I used was some foam that I bought from Home Depot. This is the pipe insulation that you're probably familiar with if you've built packs before. This is 3/4 of an inch inside diameter. You can get 6 feet of this stuff for, I got it for $2.01 in my store at Home Depot. And cut a foot of it off of this, and then I ended up trimming it later when I was doing the actual build. To connect the two together, you can use multiple different methods. You could get some spray adhesive that's good for foam, something that would be maybe for putting the headliner up on the top of your roof of your car, the ceiling of your car. One thing that I found when I was looking for something like that at Walmart was this super glue tape, and I'd never heard of it before. It's T-Rex brand, and it said it was good for crafts, and it would be good for multiple different projects, but it works for foam, so I thought I would give it a shot. It's the kind of tape that is double-sided, and when you peel it off, you have to peel off the backing on either side to be able to put it on whatever you're attaching. So it works well. It holds tight once you squeeze it into place. And and it does a good job of holding the foam to the neoprene. I use some of that tape to hold the foam in place on the top of the frame itself, and then I used more of the tape to connect it. I don't know if you'll be able to see. It's starting to spread a little bit, so I might end up using another method to close it off here. There's thought of maybe putting some Velcro or something in there so I could take it on and off if I needed to. I know on some of the reference pictures you can see an extra bolt there to mount it to the motherboard. So there's a thought there that it might need to, be able to put it on and take it off again, and so Velcro would be good for that. So if this doesn't end up holding well here on the connection, then I'll switch to something else. But for now, it's kind of holding still. Keep in mind though, as an Afterlife pack, these are supposed to show a lot of wear and maybe manipulation to try to keep them moving and working. And so even as something as simple as the foam on the Alice frame might be something that in-universe Egon might have made adjustments to, and it might be something that might show signs of wear or peeling off. Actually, I haven't done any real weathering to mine yet, but if you look at the reference pictures to the ones that we see for the Hero packs, there is evidence of it being weathered, and it doesn't look as nice and smooth and shiny as it does here. And that's the same for the straps as well, and the side of the frame. All of it needs a little bit of weathering that I haven't done yet for mine. So those are the basic ingredients that I used to end up with what I got here. As far as the measurements, I first started off with that 12 by 8 piece, or 12 by 8.5 piece of foam of neoprene, and then I cut about 1.5 inches off either way. So I ended up with 10.5 by 7, and that's the 10.5 runs lengthwise, and then it wraps around by 7. You may want to be careful with those measurements and get it the way you want it to, but that's just what I ended up using. And so ballparking it, that's kind of what you might end up using. I think I did end up trimming a little bit more off as I was tightening it around the foam. So it ended up being a little bit less than 7. And so I took that foot-long piece of the 3/4 inch foam and then cut 1.5 inches off of it. Actually did that first before I cut the neoprene, and I kind of measured. I wanted it to be about shoulder to shoulder as this curls up into this top bar. I ended up also making some notches. I don't know if you'll be able to see it with the lighting. There are notches in it right here and here for the straps to have some movement. Again, that's from reference that I used from the pack when Adam Savage actually had it in his workshop. And when you look at it closely, they're pretty rough cuts, so you don't have to have exact cuts, exact measurements on this. And so if it looks a little jagged and raggedy, that's part of the thought of it and part of the look. And then I took a little bit out right here for the bar in the middle, and so the back side of it is just the flush edge, and then the 3 cutouts were all on the same side, so the 2 over here and then the 1 in the middle. And then obviously the 1 in the middle isn't to the extent that these are cut out. It doesn't go as far. There's a possibility I might want to cut these out a little bit higher. It might be one of those things once I finally put on a pack and then see how much it gives when it's got weight on it and when it's on your shoulders. But it wouldn't be a whole lot more than it is here. And this is just something I eyeballed, so I didn't take measurements when I cut these. I did kind of plan for it and made lines for it when I was putting the actual foam on there and cutting it to size. I did mark the edges of the straps and the center bar, and was able to easily go back and mark the neoprene and cut it that way. But again, one thing that I might do is change the way that I have it connected, because even as I'm holding it, I feel the connection there in the middle starting to give way a little bit. So that's basically what I used for mine. There's not a whole lot to it. Just I did have the tape not only for the connection here, but I did go around the ends and then on the front on either side to tape it down between the foam and the neoprene, and that is holding really well, and pretty happy with the glue for that aspect of it, the glue tape. But like I said, I might end up having something different for that middle part. So aside from the weathering on the whole thing, I'm pretty much done with this for now. And again, if I change that, then that'll be something that'll be different too. But now I'm kind of to the point where, okay, now we're waiting a year for the HasLab pack to come out. So I'm excited for it. When it does come out, I will make a video showing if there's any drilling spots that we need to do to the frame itself, and measuring that out to take a frame and then apply it to the HasLab pack when it does come. And again, that'll be in a year, so it'll be a while before you can expect to see anything like that. But it is something I have planned to do here on the channel. So if that's something that you're concerned about, or something that you would like to watch somebody else do before you start hacking away at one of these frames, then you can kind of check it out and see the measurements that I use, and you might decide to use what I did, or if I make mistakes, you might be able to see my mistakes before you make them on your own. We'll see. Hopefully not. But that's it for this until we do have the HasLab pack. Luckily, we're starting to have some of the parts from the Max Factory Proton pack. Those parts are starting to be available again, and so I plan to buy those parts as they come out. So the next Proton pack items that you'll probably see here on the channel will be items that I'm using on my GB1 Proton pack that will be the Max Factory pack. Once I have those Max Factory parts in hand, then I'll review those and then show you what they look like when they're installed on the shell, if it's something that I'm able to actually attach to the shell, and any of the other parts that may have come out as well. Thank you for watching this one. I really do appreciate it, and be sure to like this video if you've made it this far, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check back through some of my older videos. You might find something helpful or useful if you're a Proton pack builder or just interested in the subject. And I'll be back soon with some more videos. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.